Alrighty, people. How you darn? How you darn?
Yeah.
It's a great day to talk fantasy football. We are here to help answer your questions for week number 4 and beyond. Trade questions, start sits. You know the dealio. I appreciate you guys being here with us. Do us a favor, hit that like button as today's stream begins. We do have a like goal today of 100 likes. With your help, I think we got a shot. We got a shot to do it.
Yeah.
Here's how today's stream is going to work, guys. We're going to answer questions from top to bottom. All right, a couple disclaimers. Number one, if you want to skip the queue, super chat is an option for you. That not Dr. Seuss. I'm not a rapper, okay? But if you want to skip the queue, super chat is an option. It will prioritize your question. Number two, there is a point during some of these streams, you guys have been so kind and generous, where we can't get to the top of the stream just simply because YouTube won't allow us to look that far up. So just be aware that's a possibility. But just want to let y'all know exactly how this stream is going to go. We're going to answer questions. If they're super chats, they will get prioritized. Otherwise, we will read the non-super chats in order from what we can see. But be a friend, hit that like button. Got a like goal today of 100 buckaroos, 100 likes.
Because
we do have some super chats to start off with. The first one is from Trent. He says, important dynasty question. Trade Saquon, Zach Moss, and Shaheed for Rashee Rice and Blake Corum. Start 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. I had Bijan and Gibbs.
I would be okay with that because I think Rashee is probably the same value right now, or maybe even higher than Saquon.
I was going to say, in a startup,
Dynasty.
you're probably taking Rice before Saquon in Dynasty specifically.
Yeah, so give me Richie Rich there with Blake Corum was a kind of fun upside going into the 2025 season.
I do wonder if you could potentially throw in like a pick swap there where you get a second and send a third, just because you are giving up a lot.
Taking off right now. Yeah, and like if he does actually continue to, even though he dropped a goose last week, but I mean to be fair, he dropped 2 touchdowns. But if he does pick up where he left off in weeks 1 and 2, Shaheed should be interesting value. Maybe you can squeeze out a third or a late second. If people really see Shaheed being that way. So I would agree. Maybe there's something else there you can squeeze out.
That's what Shaheed said. I appreciate the super chat, Trent. Next super chat here is from Carlos. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for donating. He says 10-team PPR dynasty. Thoughts on someone in the league trading away Kyron and a third for Bucky, a first and a second. I mean, overall pretty indifferent in a 10 team. Running backs do carry a little bit more value. So I think I wouldn't want to bet that much on Kyron's career, but clearly he's the guy right now. We have seen McVay draft a player, not use him, and then the second year use him. So I think that could be the Corum route. Yeah. So I'm not sure I would pay that much for Kyron, but I don't think it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay. I always say this. I'm okay getting the first in 25, especially with a deep running back class. So I'm happy to reset my running back room.
Yeah.
If I'm not competing, if you were to be getting that first and second side and sending away Kyron. But I understand. Sets, how you doing, brother? He says Fant likely Conklin or Komet if McBride is out. I would say I'll say this right off the rip. For me, it will be Cole Kmet if Keenan Allen's not playing, which looks like he is going to play. He looks like he's practicing today.
I know. I just picked up Kmet because I have the same situation. McBride, I have in the Flock League. Picked up Kmet. I was like, all right, I don't want Keenan Allen to play. And now it looks like he's probably going to play.
My second go-to here would technically be likely, but I actually really like Conklin this week because Garrett Wilson should be shut down by Patrick Surtain. They play at home against the Broncos. So I think there could be a sneaky upside there with Tyler Conklin. But likely, when they were down, they used likely, and they played the Buffalo Bills this week. So I think there's so many different options. There's so many different ways you can paint it. I would say this, in order, Komet if Keenan Allen doesn't play, likely, and then Conklin. That's what I would say. But my gut tells me to say maybe Conklin has a good matchup this week because of Patrick Surtain on Garrett Wilson.
I really feel like this is throwing darts at a board.
Yeah.
With no real idea of how to win a game, It's
Yeah.
like it's a brand new board game and you have no rules, no instructions inside the board game. Um, to me, it's probably commit. It's probably commit. I mean, I feel like there is rationale behind why commit's role has changed, and that's because
Because he's good. Come on.
well, sure. I mean, good is relative in the tight end land space, but it's really the Gerald Everett experience is kind of over now.
Yeah.
That was a big reason why Komet's upside was completely shot. I mean, he was unstartable, but now not Garrett Wilson, sorry, Gerald Everett, their usage of him is completely it's completely changed. So it feels like he's become, like their tight end. He went from playing 61% of the snaps in week 1, and in the preseason he had so much work. Then he went to 36% and 33% of the snaps. So his role just keeps decreasing as Komet's role continually increases.
Yeah. I love commit too. I'm a big commit owner. I have a lot of dynasty. This is a great sign. But yes, I understand. When it comes down to that. Hopefully that helps. That's Misfit. Thank you so much for the $10 donation. We really appreciate you. It says 12 team full PPR. I got Burrow, JT, Dobbins, Neighbors. Okay, what's the question? Any changes for start and sit? Okay, so
gotcha.
Joe Burrow. You have Jonathan Taylor, Dobbins, Neighbors, Terry, commit, Monty at the flex. But your bench is
obviously,
AJ Brown.
look, if AJ Brown plays, you're going to start him over Terry, right?
Yeah.
I would start Amari Cooper over Terry McLaurin, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I would start Amari Cooper over Terry. So in order, AJ Brown if he plays over Terry, and then if not, Amari Cooper over Terry. And I personally would say,
where do you have Cooper ranked this week? By the way, like I was pretty bold on him. I know I have him in the Flock League. I'm very high because of this game versus the Raiders. Where would you rank him this week?
here, I'm just pulling it up here.
Like I'm probably playing Cooper over Tyreek type high.
Yeah, I mean, I have him wide receiver 18 right now.
Okay, yeah, that's not far off. I have him wide receiver 14. Excuse me.
Okay.
The Raiders are a top 10 matchup.
I think
wide
I would.
receivers.
Yeah, I would also say this really depends on a lot of players. Like I think of Devonta Smith, AJ Brown. Like I rank those guys as if they weren't playing.
Sure.
So I think that can easily change and get higher for sure.
No, I think it's just good to see that we're both relatively on the same page expectations wise this week. Yeah, I do think in order, if healthy, Brown, Cooper, Terry. Outside of that, I wouldn't change anything in your starting lineup, and I wouldn't start Love over Burrow this week. Love's got a difficult matchup.
Sorry, continue.
No, I was just gonna say Love has a difficult matchup, so if you have a name like Burrow, it's a good option. You're right. He says Jason's on the wire. Should I drop Cooper for him? I don't trust Deshaun. Wouldn't drop Cooper for him, but I mean, how does your bench have 1, 2, 3, 4? It's a five. It's a five bench spots. That's it. It's only 5 bench spots.
I would say this. I wouldn't drop quarterback. I would technically start Monty over Dobbins. So I'm starting JT, Monty, and then Neighbors, and then obviously in that list of AJ Brown, Cooper, then it would be JSN if you can pick him up off waiver wires.
I believe Jason's going to go off this week. I believe he is. He faces the Detroit Lions. They give up the second most points to fantasy wide receivers, but more importantly, this team is getting torched by slot wide receivers. No one gives up more points to slot wide receivers in fantasy football than the Detroit Lions. That's how you beat this team. I
guess the question is, do you have JSN over Amari Cooper?
No, I don't. I mean, Amari Cooper is just a safer play based off the 12 targets, red zone targets. Here's what I would say, though. I would be doing everything in my power to do a 2-for-1 right now. The rest of my day would be chocked full of sending 2-for-1 trades where I'm sending Jordan Love and J.K. Dobbins to try and upgrade somewhere at running back. I'm sending Braylon Allen and Terry McLaurin to upgrade. I'm sending Terry McLaurin and Cole Kmet to upgrade at tight end, And the reason being is because JSN should absolutely be rostered. He should absolutely be rostered in every single format.
In a 12-man league, I would drop Braylon Allen immediately and pick up JSN. as much as I think Braylon Allen is important, I think
Yeah.
Jason is even more important, especially with the running back depth. Like if you didn't have Dobbins there and Monty, I would say actually you might need to keep Braylon Allen just in case.
I get that.
But
I would first try and trade.
yeah, I would agree. First try and trade. If not, if you can't get anything done, Braylon Allen is gone.
Okay, yeah, I
And
agree.
I like him.
Hey guys, do us a favor, hit that like button to show some love. We got a like goal today of 100. With your help, I know we can do it. We've done it before. Appreciate the love, appreciate the support on the channel. Here's the dealio. We're answering start, sit, trade, whatever type of questions you have in fantasy. Super chats will get prioritized. Otherwise, we'll go in order. So if you do donate, you will absolutely get prioritized. And the next one is from Brett. This is his first donation. I appreciate you, Brett. He says Mahomes, Waddle, and Rome for Love and Pollard. He says my running backs are Kyron, Sharps, Rico, Brown. My wide receivers are Monra, Rice, Waddle, Shakir, Bryan, Odunze. Giving too much. Got Rome off waivers. So clearly a small league if Rome is on waivers. Waddle, Mahomes, and Rome for Love and Pollard. It feels like the Love and Pollard side is not really equaling out the value here. And I like Pollard. I really do.
Yeah, I would say that you need Pollard though. This is the hard part.
Yeah.
And you have Amon-Ra, Rice, Shakira, BTJ, and Odunze. I think with Waddle's production falling without Tua, I think this might be something you're willing to do. And Jordan Love is expected to be coming back this week. And if he's not back this week, surely you can pick up a quarterback off of waivers for another week here. So
yeah, looking at your running back depth, I don't think you should lose Pollard. Or you're gaining Pollard is what sorry. Yeah. Because to be fair, like Charbonnet is a very like temporary name. Maybe Rico Daddle's a superstar. Maybe we're wrong, but
about what's Walker doing this week? Did he practice out of curiosity?
I feel like Mahomes and Rome should be more than enough for this deal. The Waddle side just feels like too much.
I think it needs to be a three like 3 for 3. Like
you can make it a 3 for 3, sure.
Is that Waddle like the person, let's just say hypothetically that person
Jameson
has
back.
Jameson, a Tank Dell, Worthy, something. It has to be something else.
Yeah, I agree. All right.
Yeah.
We're on the same page. I appreciate the super chat. Brett, very kind man. The next donation is from Moises De La Vara. That sounds fancy as F. He says start Waddle, Kirk, Worthy, or Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson.
Yep.
I'm so excited I get to talk. I mean, that was like, if you look at my guys list this year, Badaki, a lot of hits. There's like one, Zamir White is like the biggest fail so far. But a lot of hits. And then there was like this dark cloud over Deontay Johnson. And I was like, oh, please do something. It's like that meme where you're poking them with a stick. And
yeah,
the red rifle has completely revived Deontay Johnson, and hopefully he's going to save that take. I think he's a must start this week. I'm considering in the Flock League starting Deontay Johnson or Tyreek Hill. That's how much I think you got to start Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I don't know how. I mean, I've said this. I don't know how you can start Tyreek Hill. For me, it'll be Deontay Johnson's playing the Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, they just gave up a decent amount of points to Terry, but they're still up there, right? I mean, they give up, I think, the 8th or 10th fewest points to the wide receiver position. So
yeah,
they're still decent. But Deontay Johnson, I think, is getting worked into this offense. I mean, 14 targets this past week.
And no Adam Thielen.
Yeah, and no Adam Thielen, exactly. So give me Deontay Johnson there as well. Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Would you start Deontay Johnson over Garrett Wilson? Because Garrett Wilson is a name I'm really worried about this week with Pat Surtain.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Okay.
Pat Surtain has held George Pickens to less than, I think, 5 points, DK Metcalf to less than 5 points, and then last week he held Mike Evans to less than 4 points.
Yeah,
I don't know how you can start anyone going against Patrick Surtain, but at the same time, he has Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
that's the difference. So I don't know. That's tough.
Emmanuel is sauced up, and he dropped a donation. I appreciate you, man. He says, if Walker is not available, start Bucky or Braylon. To me, this is probably Braylon, considering game scripts. I remember talking about this on a video. Let me just remind myself. They face the Broncos, and the Jets are the heaviest favorites of the week. They are 7.5 point favorites at home. You've seen Braylon Allen go from 4 touches to 11 to 14 over the last 3 weeks. He seems like the A.J. Dillon to Aaron Jones. I would say Braylon Allen right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Any
I would
strong
agree.
opinion there?
Braylon Allen, yeah, I would go with him as well because of game script, like you kind of mentioned.
Yeah.
Jordan's house, he says, "What are we doing with Pittman? I'm scared. I mean, get him off your team if you can."
Yeah.
Uh,
Buy a time machine.
obviously, yeah, we were both kind of really off on a lot of the Colts players this off season. We weren't big people. According to Fantasy Pros, rest of season rankings, I like to use this as a reference because that's kind of where a lot of home league people's likes to go. Michael Pittman ranked as wide receiver 29. Here are people ranked ahead and below him. Debo Samuel, Deontay Johnson, Amari Cooper that are
Give me
ranked
all those guys over Pittman in a
all
heartbeat.
ranked over Michael Pittman. The three wide receivers underneath underneath Michael Pittman technically. So wide receivers 30 to 33, Jaden Reed, Brian Thomas Jr., Jackson Smith and Jigba, and then Rashid Shaheed.
Give me all those names over Pittman.
Yeah.
Actually,
if you can find
probably
something.
not Shaheed, but every name you mentioned outside of Shaheed, I'd take over Pittman. Here's the glass half full for Pittman owners. What you've seen with Deontay Johnson is possible in theory, but I don't think it's going to happen. And when I'm saying that, I'm saying if Joe Flacco becomes a starting quarterback for the Colts, they probably win a lot more games, and their wide receivers are all super valuable. Here's the issue. Anthony Richardson, this team knew when they drafted him, he is super young. He only had 12 collegiate starts. He's going to take a lot of time to develop. So I don't think they're going to give up on him like the Panthers gave up on Bryce Young. I'd be shocked if they did. So this might be a really rough season with Pittman. I'm shocked, to be honest. Those names don't seem realistic that Fantasy Pros has. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't think you can get those names, but
that's what I'm saying. It's just rest of season rankings. I like to use this as a reference because a lot of our home leagues, they use Fantasy Pros. They love Fantasy Pros, and they say, oh, rest of season rankings say that Michael Pittman is better than technically T. Higgins. But I think we would both agree we want T. Higgins over Michael Pittman.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm using it as a quick reference. But I agree. Here's some other names then.
I think you got to go lower. Yeah, give me some lower names.
Here's some lower names then. Tank Dell or Michael Pittman.
Tank Dell.
Calvin Ridley or Michael Pittman.
Calvin Ridley.
T. Higgins, Michael Pittman.
T.
I think you said T. Higgins. Jalen Waddle, Michael Pittman.
That one's interesting because I don't think you can start either of them, but when Waddle gets Tua back, I think you would want to start him. So
Rome Odunze, Michael Pittman.
Odunze.
Shakira.
That's tough. I don't know.
That's hot. Give me Shakira. Xavier Worthy.
Xavier Worthy.
Okay. Well, those are some names. You have Christian Watson as well down there. Keenan Allen, Lam McConkey. Anyways, you guys get the gist there. Thank you so much for the super chat, Eric. He says, been regretting not accepting the Amari Braylon for Brian Thomas Benson. Also, we press on. We press on. Another offer, JSN, Hopkins for Rashad White and Steele. And we got RB2. Brees, Pollard, Warren, Brooks, Benson is at 3 flex.
Let's get a vibe check. I don't want Rashad White on my team, personally. To me, the most valuable name in that deal is JSN. I understand the desire for an RB2. I don't personally want Rashad White on my teams. Rashad White could come out this week, Padaki, and put up 20 fantasy points, and I would probably still be like, don't know if I want this guy on my roster still. And with Carson Steele, there's a chance we see, I'm not saying it will happen, but there's a chance we see Kareem Hunt develop a role this week now that he's active.
Yeah, look, I would say, I don't think your running backs are terrible. You have Brees and Pollard. Yeah, your running back depth is probably not the strongest, but you have Brooks coming off of IR next week.
Wait a second. You're fine.
I'm not. Are you not confident in Tony Pollard? I know he didn't have the best week this week.
He's the start of the week for me this week.
He has, has a great matchup against Miami. You kind of expect that this offense should lead in opportunities, specifically going against Miami that can't move the ball, in my opinion, with this quarterback play. So I think he will definitely have a great bounce back type of play here.
Yeah, I'm definitely starting Pollard with confidence this week. So, look, overall, I would not do that trade Because I think your running backs are better than you think.
Yeah, I would agree. I wouldn't do that trade either. Thank you so much for the super chat. Zach of Trades is next. He says, "Sub Gents was able to trade away Jennings and Ford for Monty today. That is phenomenal thoughts.
Wow.
I
Huge
think
W.
that is a great trade because
That's
obviously
silly season
Jennings,
type stuff. That's Mickey Mouse type stuff.
Mickey
Sounds like it was a newer fantasy player who doesn't understand that Juwan Jennings is
took advantage.
unplayable when Debo and Kittle are back. So I think he did a great job taking advantage of someone, frankly.
I completely agree. K3, thank you so much. He said, Baker AR, I'm giving this dude 2 more weeks. I mean, look, Anthony Richardson going against the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's probably not the best matchup for him this week.
No.
Okay, Baker Mayfield is the one that you should be starting.
Yeah, I'll go Baker.
But he has Jacksonville and then Tennessee in week 5 and 6, and then Miami in week 7. Anthony Richardson. So there could be some light at the end of the tunnel potentially. Jacksonville has been terrible. Tennessee has also has been the greatest.
Here's the thing: if you have Anthony Richardson, you have to be aware that it is possible at any point for him to put up 30 points. But you have to be aware that his track record is that he doesn't help you more than he hurts you, right? So I would just personally be like, yeah, let's rock with Baker. Great matchup versus the Eagles. Highest over-under of the week, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, it's second highest. So, yeah. Appreciate the donation, man. It's a fair question. All right, we got a super chat here from Ham. Okay.
How you doing, brother?
He says, traded Hubbard, and JMO for Reed. Fields or Love start. Okay, first off, great job taking advantage of Chuba Hubbard's sell high window. Guys, they're going to use Jonathan Brooks when he's back. If you have Hubbard, it is time to sell. It was time to sell as soon as he popped off this week. So great job. Fields or Love to start this week, though. Fields has a great matchup. Love does not have an ideal matchup. What do you think?
Look, I'm still starting Jordan Love. I would say this might be one of the toughest. I need to see how many points they are.
Vikings are like 25th in points allowed to quarterbacks. So they are bottom third in the league. It's a tough matchup, and it will be tough to run against them. It is a divisional matchup.
I think, yeah, it's interesting.
Do you trust Love off the injury?
I think you have to go with Love personally, but I can see Justin Fields having a great day, especially against this matchup against the Colts, because I think they're not the best defense.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go J Love.
There are many Washington defensively. I keep saying it, but it's true. I guess I do lean Jordan Love just because there's so much history of him throwing touchdowns, but I would be scared. Marinda, appreciate the super chat, says, should I start Dalton over Richardson this week? It's funny. I'm not laughing because it's a dumb question. I'm laughing because it's a smart question. It's a realistic question. It makes sense why the question's being asked. That's why I'm laughing.
Yeah. Look, I think I would.
Would you?
I think I would. Look, I would just say this: don't expect Andy Dalton to do what he did last week. I think we have to lower expectations.
Yeah,
I mean, he scored 24 points. Maybe you need to expect more like 14 points. And you're going to be okay with that. Anthony Richardson has a ceiling, but I feel like Andy Dalton has a safer floor just off of that one game. But it's tough. I would say there are better options out there if you're streaming. Like if Sam Darnold's available, I probably want Sam Darnold. Justin Fields is a better stream option. Maybe even Geno Smith in this matchup against the Lions is a better option. Baker Mayfield. I like the thought process, but I think there might be better options for you on the waiver.
Yeah, I think this is probably the most difficult question I've had this week. Because you don't want to be reactionary in fantasy because that leads you to do some pretty stupid things. But is it really reactionary when we've seen 2 weeks of Anthony Richardson playing like the worst quarterback in the NFL? Is that really reactionary at this point? I don't know.
Have you seen the interview of him? Like, he's like, somebody saying, you're missing these easy throws. Like, what are you doing to like be better? He's like, I think I just get too excited. Like he sees a man wide open and he just like, holy shit, this is about to be a big play, and overthrows him.
I could see that, how you're like, your adrenaline's like, oh, this could be great, and then you're like, oh shit, I was too excited. Yeah, I could see that actually.
That's what he's saying. He's like, I need to calm down.
You gotta
Take a
bring
breath right before.
Yeah, he needs to do breathing work. He does actually.
Yeah.
Breathing work will calm his heart rate down. Anyway, my mom's a yoga teacher.
Shout out to you, mom. Look,
yeah, look, I probably would. Look, if I feel confident in a win, I'm gonna put Dalton out there. But if I'm in a position where it's like I am a huge underdog, then we're definitely gonna go ahead and put Anthony Richardson out there.
yeah, I would say like it's not the best matchup to start Anthony Richardson. That's why I will be leaning Andy Dalton. But you just need to understand your expectations. Don't expect 24 points from Andy Dalton. Expect 14, 10, which might even be better than what Anthony Richardson has done, or it might do this week.
Yeah. Hey guys, just a heads up. You know, we don't want to do this, but if anyone is spamming their question in the chat, they are going to be put in timeout. It's not helpful to anybody. Okay, we're getting through all the questions we can. Of course, if people are going to donate, hopefully you guys understand that we would look at their questions first as they're donating to the channel. You know, but we are doing our best to answer everyone's. Sarah's the next one. I appreciate you, Sarah. It says Deontay Johnson, DJ Moore, T Higgins, Jamar Chase, pick 3. I totally get this question. This is tough. Definitely Chase. Funnily enough, to me, Deontay's the next name I would be like, definitely that name. I'm playing Deontay over DJ this week. So yeah, I think it's probably those 3. Chase, Deontay, DJ. I guess Higgins is a sit. I really like Higgins this week though.
That's where I would go. I'm not sure how much Keenan might play if he does play. I don't know if he's going to come back and just instantly get,
sure,
be on the field for 90 to 80% snaps.
Yeah.
But I would agree. I would go DJ Moore over T Higgins and T Higgins over. Yeah.
Yeah.
DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson.
I just want to quickly address this comment. Typically I bet we shouldn't address this comment, but Eric says all these channels have become money hungry. Of course, they are worthless to the normal follower that doesn't donate. You and I, as we have grown over the last 2 years, we found it difficult to make everybody happy. I don't think we can. What I've never understood is someone seeing us grow our channel from the ground up. I mean, you remember, Doc, we had 30 views for a year on every video. We kept going. It's so strange to me that someone would see us being slightly successful and be upset about it. It's always thrown me off. I've never been able to cope with that. It's really strange, but it's happening more and more and more. So I probably will completely ignore these comments moving forward, but I just want to address it real fast. What would you guys do in our situation? If people are going to donate to hear our thoughts, what do you guys reckon we should do?
I just don't think it's respectfully to everyone. I just don't think you understand because you are not in this position. It's I wouldn't understand what to do legally if you're a lawyer. I wouldn't understand what to do with insurance claim because you work in insurance. You don't understand because you're not in our position. And I'm not saying that you guys aren't competent. I'm just saying you just don't understand how to maneuver. In fact, they're trying to please everyone, which is probably one of the most difficult things as a content creator and putting your face out there. But yes.
Yeah. All I'm going to say is to the people, and I honestly won't address these comments anymore. But what I will say is genuinely, what would you do in this situation? Would you not answer the questions to people who are putting their hard-earned money into donating to our channel? Is that what you would do? Just think logically through it for a second. What would your answer be? You'd probably say, you know what, these guys are donating their hard-earned money to us. Yeah, maybe we'll answer their questions first as a thank you. So anyway, that's the last time I'm going to answer those type of questions or even acknowledge it. I just feel like we haven't, and I just want to set the record straight right here.
Yeah.
And we do appreciate it. It always is the 1% of just these trolls that always come out. But anyway, let's go on to the next one.
Bruce, thank you so much for the super chat. He says need one flex PPR, Michael Wilson, Mooney, Dortch, or Tutu Atwell. This for me would be Darnell Money Mooney, baby. I'm loving the opportunity that he's getting. I like Michael Wilson as
I
well,
was
by
gonna
the way.
say Wilson's really interesting in this matchup.
Yeah, I like Michael Wilson as well. But for me, I think we've seen a little bit more consistency from Mooney the past 2 weeks. Obviously,
Yeah,
week one wasn't
fair.
what we expected, but the targets were there in Philly. He does catch that bomb touchdown that really changes the game and changes his outlook. But the fact that he gets 7 targets in week two, 8 targets in week three, I think that's where the consistency comes. But yes, Michael Wilson against Washington is interesting. But I think Mooney is more needed in this matchup against New Orleans. This is a divisional game as well.
Yeah, it really is a good question.
Mhm.
Honestly, it is a great question. I could see both Wilson and Mooney being great plays, but I definitely get where you're coming from, where you're saying like you'll probably need to throw the ball versus Kansas City. That offense is humming. So I do lean Mooney, but it's a great question.
Yeah.
All right, we've got a super chat here from John. If you want to read that one out.
Yes, John Hargrave. How you doing? He said, "What's up, fellas? Should I trade Pollard and Shakir for Jersey, Drake, London? 12-team full PPR. You have Devon Connor for running backs." Um,
What do you reckon?
yeah, I would. I would say this. There's two things, John. How big is your lineup? That's what she said. And yeah, how big is your lineup? Because I think it just really depends. If this is a smaller league, yes, I want Drake. But if you have a start 11 where Tony Pollard could go into the flex option and you have a decent amount of wide receivers outside of Drake London, then I like Shakira. But Shakira does have a lot of inconsistencies, and I guess the same could be with Tony Pollard. But I think all three of these guys are going to be inconsistent throughout the weeks, in my opinion.
Funnily enough, it's weird with the Bills offense because if you think about it, there hasn't really been a game where they've needed to throw or they've needed their wide receivers. You could say week one for sure, but they really haven't needed to target wide receivers, and that could change. I think I do lean the Pollard side of this deal. I love London. But I do lean the Pollard side of this deal. Funnily enough, through 3 weeks, Shakir's a wide receiver 17 and London's a wide receiver 22.
Shakira.
You and I notoriously, there's that clip with when we went to Austin, us talking about Shakir, how we liked him. I think I'm keeping it, and mainly because it feels like Pollard's legit. Pollard feels like a legit top 20 name rest of season. I feel like it's really difficult to find running backs like that right now. If you look across leagues, people are struggling. I mean, I'm not saying this is a flex, but I was looking at trying to do trades in the Flock League, and every time I look at someone's team, I'm like, their running backs are so tough. I don't know how I can make the value make sense. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I feel like that is common across leagues. I would stick with the Pollard side, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think like my question to you once again, John, was like, is this a larger startup or smaller, or larger lineup or a smaller one? I personally would go for the Drake London side if it was a start 7 or start 8. If it's larger, give me the Tony Pollard and Shakira side. But we appreciate you. Just Chrome, just Blaze. How you doing? Start, sit, PPR, 2 wide receivers, 2 flex, 1 tight end. So that's 5. Out of all these players, you need to start 5. Amon-Ra, DK, Neighbors. I think you start those 3. I'm not even going to continue reading the names. I know you have to start those 3.
Yeah.
And then Kirk, Steele, Dottle, Goddard, and Ferguson. Oh my gosh. I would say the 4th person you have to start.
Goddard. I would start both tight ends.
Both tight ends? Yeah, that's why I was going to go. Both tight ends. Because looks like AJ Brown's not going to play. Devonta Smith's not going to play. Goddard just got 11, 12 targets, and Jake Ferguson going to play. The Giants historically have been phenomenal against the tight end position or Giants.
Yeah, so we're going
so, yeah.
Amon-Ra, DK, Neighbors, Goddard, Ferguson, right? Are you worried at all about starting 2 tight ends on Thursday night? I hate playing any player on Thursday night.
Goddard's 2 players Thursday night, yeah, because Neighbors and Ferguson. Yeah, I hate it. I played Jake Ferguson this week on Thursday night. I don't want to. I wish I had another option. But he probably is going to have his best game because, like I said, historically, the Cowboys versus Giants, terrible. You know who scores a lot of points? CeeDee Lamb, and then whatever tight end is in for the Cowboys.
Ferg looks legit. I guess that's where we're rolling. Thanks, Just Chrome. That's a great question. Sergio, thanks for the donation, man. He says Josh Allen, Devonta Smith, and Deontay for Bijan and Lamar. I give up Bijan and Lamar full PPR. That is probably not enough for me to move off Bijan.
Josh Allen, Devonta Smith, and Deontay. Yeah, I want
would
Bijan
just keep
and
the
Lamar.
Bijan side.
I agree.
I think the only way you even consider this, look, guys, here's the difficult part with Deontay is he could, Bryce Young could be named the starter in 3 weeks just because they want to develop him. And we would be like, fuck, not Deontay Johnson. You know what I mean? So, no, I don't think you can do this deal. I don't imagine you have running back depth enough to make a deal like that anyway. But, yeah, no, we'll take Bijan Lamar there.
Yeah. Liam, thank you so much for the super chat. Flex Jaden Reed or Devin Singletary. Devin Singletary has been great, actually. I still would be going Jaden Reed, I think, with or without Jordan Love playing, personally. Jaden Reed, I just made a video on him. He's going to release on the Fantasy Shorts. Wide receiver 9, averaging 16.9 fantasy points, and that was 2 games without Jordan Love. Obviously, his biggest game did come with Philly, so that might be a little skewed.
That's pretty skewed.
That might be a little skewed, but still, that is his upside with Jordan Love.
I'm not sure that's a good representation of expectations without Love, though. I mean, without Love, he's averaging under 10 a game. Look.
Yeah, and I get that.
If Jordan Love is playing, I'll play Jaden Reed. But I think you have an incredible start here with Devin Singletary. I mean, there's not a single team in the NFL giving up more points to running backs than the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
They're number 1 in points allowed to running backs. So,
and I understand that's a hard question as well because you're not going to know if Jordan Love's going to play.
Well, hopefully, I mean, we're already finding out he has a chance to play. Hopefully, by the time tomorrow's game starts, you'll know he's going, or there'll be another week. But Devin Singletary is a fine play if you don't have that clarity yet. So yeah, like if I didn't know going into Thursday night, I'd probably just throw Devin in there, to be honest. But you can get the vibes from the reports for sure. Thanks, Liam.
Yeah,
Chilled Mind says Najee Flowers and more for St. Brown. Just take St. Brown, right? I mean, this is like a very disguised way of just getting a superstar player.
Agreed. Failures, no options. Appreciate you. He says bench Wilson for Dunze or Jennings. Martin Harrison is my wide receiver 1. I mean, another great question.
Yeah, it's funny because
Wilson.
I fear that our expectations for Juwan Jennings are just completely unhealthy now. Like I was looking through our wide receiver start sit video, and a lot of the comments were just concerning, just because people are starting Juwan Jennings over like superstars, and it could totally pay off. But to me, it's a wrong process. Like you start your stars, and like Juwan Jennings was a surprise. I mean, do we feel like defenses are gonna like, you know what I mean? They're not gonna adjust. I don't know. I think Juwan Jennings is a great start. I really do, but I don't know that I can bench Garrett Wilson for him.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree.
But it wouldn't surprise me if that's the right move. Either.
I think Juwan Jennings and Rome Odunze are too far low in my rankings right now.
Here's what I was gonna say, by the way, just quickly to throw it in there. If Keenan Allen doesn't play, Odunze is going to probably be a starter for me over Garrett Wilson because the matchup is so juicy versus the Rams.
Like, I have Garrett Wilson as wide receiver 19 right now.
You and I are on the same page there. Absolutely.
Okay. So, like, yeah.
Right now, it is Garrett Wilson, but I'm saying with news, it could change. Juwan Jennings.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back, which is probably not going to be helpful for you right now. I need to go back and watch the games of Patrick Surtain.
Yeah,
Like, I'll be honest
a
with
good
you, like,
matchup. I mean,
I
I'm
just
literally, I'm preparing to
is
record a video where I'm telling you guys Garrett Wilson might bust this week,
the
but
thing is like,
there is a threshold where, you know,
is it a balance of like, is it Patrick Surtain shutting him down? Like, I'm not taking anything away from him. Is it him shutting him down, or the offense not going towards him? Because
well,
I
when
don't
you
think I
have a
think
name
Aaron
like
Rodgers,
Surtain, you don't throw that way.
sure, but like Aaron Rodgers don't give a shit. You feel me? Like
I feel like Aaron Rodgers is smart though, because I mean, you know what's a great reference is the Titans game, because Garrett Wilson was seeing the Snead treatment, and versus the Titans he had 6 targets, his lowest on the year.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
That week 2 game, that's the L'Jarius Snead game, 6 targets.
Yeah.
That to me, the Tennessee game feels like a realistic outcome for Denver, but maybe worse. But God, how do you sit Garrett Wilson?
I think for these names, I don't know if I can sit Garrett Wilson.
If no Keenan Allen, I will play Adunze over him.
I would agree with you on that. If there's no Keenan Allen, I'll go Rome. But if Keenan Allen and obviously Deebo Samuel and Ayuk, well, Ayuk is playing, so it's not like
this is going to be a situation this week, Badaki, where we are going to give you guys the research. We'll do it for you. But you got to make your own decisions on these type of names. Do you know what I mean? Like truly, truly, like you got to make your own decisions on these type of names, because the games don't always go the way we want them to. I mean, superstar lockdown players might have one misstep and there's a deep pass and it's a touchdown. You know what I mean? I mean, respectfully to Calvin Ridley, that's kind of what happened to him versus the Jets. It was a couple fluke plays, and it very easily could have been a bad week for Calvin Ridley versus the Jets. So really, you got to go with your gut on these. All we can do is present you with the information and tell you the data. All the research tells you Garrett Wilson should not do well this week, but he's a superstar. Do you know what I mean? So good luck. Brent,
appreciate you though.
Brent, I appreciate the donation. Yeah, he says Mahomes or Daniels this week and rest of season.
I mean, Daniels is he's just balling, this kid, so it's kind of hard to split him. But like, you also, how do you not start Patrick Mahomes still?
It'd be Daniels.
Look, this is,
man.
I would say this is a get right game for Patrick Mahomes though, because playing the Chargers, I know it's a great defense, it's a divisional matchup. Is Justin Herbert going to play?
I don't like that matchup. Jane Daniels is the quarterback 2 through 3 weeks.
Yeah.
He rushes the ball, he scores rushing touchdowns, and he just unlocked a new cheat code, which is throwing the ball deep down the field to Terry McLaurin. He's progressing. He's like a character in a he's literally a character in a video game, and he's about to get more skins. Yeah, to me it's Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I'll go with you with Daniels there.
Mahomes isn't even a top 12 quarterback this year. What about Stroud? We told everyone not to draft Stroud. How is he doing so far?
Repeat. CJ Stroud.
Quarterback 16.
Yeah.
We told people to draft Purdy over him. That's worked out so far. Burrow has probably not worked out so far. Oh, wait. Yeah, it has. Burrow's been better. Wow, that's shocking. What was the other name? The other name was Jordan Love. He's been injured. Anyway, I always like to look back on that.
Miss you. Come home soon. Thank you so much for the super chat. Bentley is next. PPR 12 team. Trade for better RB1 is the question. So you have Monty, Ramondre, CD, Olave, Morrison, Ayuk, Laporta. You have Pollard. You have enough depth here, brother. I don't understand why you want to trade.
No, I think what he's saying is he wants to get a superstar there, and I kind of get it because he does have a lot of depth, right? Like, I think if you can package Ramondre is actually Monty. I don't feel like you should move at this point. If this is how the offense is going to go, he's a top 12 finish. But I do feel like you might have to wait till after this week where Ramondre has a decent game again. But if you can package like Ramondre and you know what you should do, dude? You should try and find someone to buy Charbonnet actually right now. If you can sell Charbonnet and Ramondre and upgrade, and there's like a reasonable manager out there who isn't completely overreacting to one game from Ramondre Stevenson, then I think you do that. I mean, for example, Ramondre and Charbonnet can you go out and get a Jacobs right now? I don't think that's crazy.
No, Jacobs is a great buy low option. Once again, another player that I'm bringing there on the Shorts channel.
Can you get
Coming
a
out
Joe
most likely.
Mixon?
Yeah.
Can you get a Alvin off a mediocre game or an Achan? Achan is a great name too. So anyway,
Yeah.
some of that's
those are
not
some great
realistic.
names.
Just throwing ideas out there for you.
Yeah. Happen. Wow, that's cool. I don't know why that's cool. 10 pen PPR, send Myers and Monty and get Amari Cooper and White. I feel like
Wait,
it
why
was
is
a
that cool?
package. I don't know why. I don't know why that if this is your name, happen.
I love it.
I don't know. It's kind of cool. Unless it's just the first thing you thought of, and anyways, it's just a YouTube name.
Yeah.
Send Myers and Monty and get Amari Cooper and White. Felt like it was a bag of chips for Amari and a stale bag of chips. Look, Myers doesn't really mean anything to me, and Rashad White, I'm assuming that's Rashad White. I would rather have Amari Cooper and Rashad White's side.
Yeah,
But
Mark
if that's-
Cooper and Rashad Whiteside for sure. Jacoby Myers is not someone that you can start weekly. That's just not going to happen with Brock Bowers getting involved. Omar, appreciate the donation, man. He says full PPR, need help setting up a basically start 7. It looks like here, so we need to pick 5 names. Moore, I assume that's DJ Jennings. I assume that's Garrett Wilson, Keenan Allen, Mooney, Tolbert. Is Taylor Jonathan? Is Cook James? Is Mason must be Jordan. Who is Johnson? We need a lot of clarity on what names these are, but let's just assume we know who they are, as in DJ Moore, Garrett Wilson, Keenan Allen,
All right.
Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, Jordan Mason.
Yeah,
Who's
2
the
wide
Johnson?
receivers. That
Who
could be
would Johnson
Deontay
be?
Johnson.
Is that Deontay? Because it's with the running back group.
Yeah, true. Who's Roscoe?
Oh, it could be Rashawn.
Yeah, it could be Roscoe. Okay, so
Okay.
2 wide receivers right now. I'm going DJ Moore and I'm going Garrett Wilson. We just had that whole conversation. I'm going Garrett Wilson over Juwan Jennings. The 2 running backs, I'm going Jonathan Taylor and James Cook.
Yeah, and I would flex Jordan Mason.
Exactly.
Okay,
And
so
I'll
if we
flex
got the
Jordan
names
Mason.
right, then that's good. So yeah, Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, DJ Moore, Garrett Wilson, and Jordan Mason. Hopefully that's helpful, man. Appreciate
Hopefully
the
that's helpful.
donation. Very kind of you. Next one I have
Daniel.
here is from Daniel. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, full PPR pick 2, ETN, Higgins, and JSN. Dude, Travis Etienne, I'll be honest,
Dude, here's the thing. He looks good.
he looks good. He's just on a bad offense.
He is
And,
on
like,
a
he's-
terrible offense.
It's like, do we just want the upside play in Higgins and JSN? He's playing Houston, which is going to be a tough matchup.
I'm definitely
I'm-
starting JSN.
I feel like it's so hard for Higgins because we expected
I
him
love
to have a
Higgins
good game. Didn't really love it
Well,
this week.
the
you know?
context behind his bad game on Monday Night Football is really not his fault. He was wide open in the end zone. Joe Burrow does not overthrow him often there. He should have had a touchdown. He almost had another touchdown with the fade. I think he
wide
does
receivers.
do well this week. ETN faces Houston. Oh my god. Yeah, I think you do rock with the wide receivers there, don't you?
Yeah, Houston currently give up the 10th least amount of points to the running back position currently.
Doing start sits for running backs this week was so difficult, Badaki, like even starts of the week, because there's like 17 running backs I like this week. That's it.
Yeah, I get you. Thank you so much, Daniel. We did get JB87 with his first super chat. Thank you so much. He said 1 quarterback. I have Richardson. Should I pick up Goff or Donald this week? Give me Jared Goff.
Right.
Donald's great. I think both of these guys are great. Sorry. I just hit my mic. I would start either of these guys over Anthony Richardson. I would be going Jared Goff because this should be a high scoring game.
Yeah, Goff, man, he has not been like this late round guy you thought you were getting at as a steal lately. Quarterback 22. And
I think they've just been so successful on the grounds, really.
Well, that's fair, but it's been multiple games where, like, think about it. The first 3 games were like high over-unders. Great offenses. Yeah. Rams when they were healthy. Bucks. Cardinals. And it's not worked out yet. Yeah, I
What
still feel if Jordan Addison's back too.
Yeah, I was gonna say if Vikings played the Packers, Packers are pretty good in the secondary right now, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Mm, they're middle of the pack,
Yeah, yeah, they are middle pack. I just checked, 19th.
kind of middle of the
I'm
pack
gonna go.
everywhere.
I'm gonna go Jared Goff just based off of that matchup. I would say this: it might be worth then having a new conversation if Jordan Love does play, because this might be a little bit more of a high scoring game if it's with
Yeah,
Jay Love, with Sam Darnold. But give me Jared Goff because I mean Sam Laporta hasn't been really worked in. Like I think
I get it.
Jared Goff.
I'm gonna go Sam Darnold. What the Vikings did to Houston blew my mind. What they
Yeah, I
did to
mean,
the Houston Texans was so surprising to me. That defense, I feel, is legit. And now you add Jordan Addison. I'm going Sam Darnold. No one has more touchdowns in the NFL than Sam Darnold. I just feel like he's done enough. And I totally can recognize that at any point he could, I mean, the clock could strike midnight. He could turn into a pumpkin. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Hopefully that helps. Bentley, week 4, pick 2. Ramondre, David Montgomery, Pollard, and Sharps. I think this will be Monty and Ramondre for me, but Pollard is a great start. I don't know how you sit Tony Pollard.
Yeah, it would be Monty and Pollard for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think I like Ramondre. He's a fine option, but if I have a name like Pollard this week versus the Dolphins, they're big favorites. I feel like that's the way I go.
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, Patriots fans out there, how's that offensive line looking? Are these guys coming back? Because I think that's a huge
That's a
indication.
good question actually.
A huge indication if we should be starting Ramondre, because if that offensive line is just like we saw against the Jets, maybe we shouldn't be starting Ramondre Stevenson. Um, and I'm trying to find that. Anyways, hopefully that helps. I would say this: if the offensive line is still kind of shaky, if I could find that while I'm on the stream, Bentley, then I would go with Zach, with Monty and Pollard. And if the offensive line is back and healthy, I'm going Ramondre and Monty.
Yeah. All right, we got another super chat here from Sam. I appreciate the donation, Bentley. Sam says, start 12, half PPR. Need to start 2 of these players at flex.
Sam says start 12 PPR. Okay, start 2. I feel like you have to start Ferguson for sure. And then the 2 people I would start would most likely be.
Is that Brandon Cooks?
Yeah.
Watson's the play
So
if Jordan
it's
Love
start,
plays.
yeah, it's start 3 out of these guys, right? So
Start
it would
2.
be Ferguson. I need to start 2 these players at flex. Okay. Sorry. So Ferguson, and then it would be Watson if Jordan Love plays. If Jordan Love doesn't play, I would rather start with Michael Wilson over Brandon Cooks this week.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I don't want to
think that's a
start
fair
Ferguson. I don't want to start Ferguson and Cook. Yeah, give me Ferguson and
Yeah.
Michael Wilson if J Lo doesn't play.
I agree. Cole's the next question here. He says, any moves? Forget the haters. Appreciate you, man. What do you reckon here, man? Any moves that you'd make? Allen, Kamara, Mason, Debo, AJ Brown, Ferguson, Monty Jennings, Rice. Wow, great squad. I'd probably try and package Jennings and like Mason. You got a lot of Niners. I mean, that's a lot of 49ers. Let's package Jennings and Mason and try and get like a more solidified running back moving forward. We've seen Mason go for very, very high names. You decide what is plausible. Can you get a Gibbs there, a Henry, a Kyron? Probably not Kyron anymore. Some of these names, I think that's the way. I'm gonna be right back. You're gonna be on your own for a bit.
No worries. No worries. Hopefully that helps there, Cole. Eric, thank you so much. I'm sitting AR this week. So I'm sitting AR this week. Do we want to roll Darnold, Fields, or Baker? In this order, I'll tell you exactly how my rankings pan out at the quarterback position. Um, so Darnold, Fields, and Baker. So looking at it, I have Baker first, then Sam Darnold, and then Justin Fields. So Baker Mayfield has a perfect matchup coming into this week. And give me a second. I just have to put this guy on a timeout. Anyways, okay, hopefully that helps. PJ Nasty, Amon-Ra, Mixon, and Pollard for JJ and JT. Gosh, this is terrible. You know why this is terrible? Because I don't believe in JT. That's why. I personally think, yes, the best player in this trade is Justin Jefferson. And Amon-Ra really hasn't been playing up to what we were hoping him to be at the moment. Wide receiver 13. And obviously Justin Jefferson, wide receiver 5. But Joe Mixon is what I'm really interested in. I'm still going to take the best player in this trade in JT. I'm sorry, in JJ and JT, but Amon-Ra, Mixon, and Pollard. I'll take the Amon-Ra, Mixon, and Pollard side. I thought it was Amon-Ra, Mixon for JT and JJ. I think that's enough for me. Even if Mixon is going to miss some time, which looks like he's going to miss again this week. Safe and sound. He says, need RB1, no Mixon. Thank you so much for the super chat. Need RB1, no Mixon. Have Rashad White as RB2. Have Akers, Madison, Dowdle on the bench. My boss offered me Eckler for Dell. Thoughts? Look. So Mixon's your RB1. You need to start somebody else. If Joe Mixon doesn't play, Cam Akers is your best option there. And I know Damian Pierce is likely coming back, but I'm going to go Cam Akers. I think they liked what he did this past week. Even though it was a tough game, he does get a receiving touchdown, which kind of saves him a little bit. But I think this matchup should be significantly easier against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They currently give up the 4th most points to the running back position. And once again, I know Damian Pierce is going to be back, but give me Cam Akers if Joe Mixon is not there. And if Joe Mixon does play, I'm going to be going Rico Dowdle against the Giants there. And then he said, my boss offered me Eckler for Dell. I'll be taking Tank Dell still, even though Eckler has been a low-key really good player so far this year. Obviously gets injured, has a concussion, and he's running back 26 on the year so far, but he's averaging about 11 to 12 fantasy points right now, which is pretty surprising. So I'll still want Tank Dell with the high upside personally. Khalil, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, thoughts on a trade. I will be trading away David Njoku, Shakira, Jahmyr Gibbs for Devontae Adams, Mark Andrews, Brandon Ayuk. As PPR, I have Josh Jacobs and Jonathan Taylor. In this trade, I want the best player available, and that's still Jahmyr Gibbs personally. Mark Andrews is not somebody that I want to trade for right now, which sounds crazy to say. I'm not necessarily sure when he's going to be the same person, or if he's going to be utilized the way we want him to. And Brandon Ayuk should be better, but I think David Njoku, Shakira, and Jahmyr Gibbs is good enough for me. And look, I think we could see some turmoil in Las Vegas. I actually think Devontae Adams could be a trade candidate in the NFL here. And he looked really upset. And I think Antonio Pierce, which could be a good opportunity to keep Devontae Adams or go out and get him, but we don't know where he's going to go, which is the big problem there. But give me the Gibbs side there. Daniel Hart, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate you. He says, pick 2, Singletary, Chuba, Moss, Najee. Okay, so starting 2 here. gosh, all these guys have phenomenal matchups. I'll tell you what my rankings say at the running back position at the moment. I think Najee Harris has a phenomenal matchup. I also think Zach Moss is an interesting play here. But give
For me,
me,
this is Zach Moss and Singletary.
okay. For me, this is Singletary and Najee.
Yeah, it's really close. Honestly, I just looked at my rankings. All three of these guys are back to back to back. I think you can make a case for most of them outside of, I mean, even Chuba, I think you can make a case for too.
Yeah. He said Love coming off an injury versus Minnesota, a role with Dalton. I'm going to be going Jordan Love if he does play. But it is a tough matchup. I have Jordan Love, and it's like, damn, I don't want you to come back this week, which is frustrating.
You know what?
Connor.
Sorry, I need to re-answer that question because I was stuck on my rest of season rankings.
Okay.
But it would be Zach Moss and man, Najee is really interesting because Warren's not going to play, and the Colts are getting murdered on the ground.
I would
But
say
so
yeah,
are the Dallas
exactly.
Cowboys.
Yeah, so are the Dallas Cowboys. I agree.
There's not a better matchup than Dallas right now for your running back.
I think what's more important, in my opinion, looking at this Zach Moss matchup, is for Joe Burrow to establish his dominance in the air. And I know
Sure.
that sounds very like game plan, like not saying they're not because every team loves to establish the run, but Joe Burrow knows he's missed a couple big throws there, and I think they're just going to come out. They're going to try and come out guns blazing in the air.
Yeah, I still love Moss though. I think Moss would be my number one option here. Panthers are a pretty easy beat on the ground.
Yeah,
And I think he's just part of the best offense. That's what makes it easy. Yeah, I'm going to go Moss and Najee, but it's super close, man. I think Singletary is a great play, too. That's tough. I appreciate the question. We got a super chat here from Connor. He says, I have lack of wide receiver depth and plenty of depth at running back. Other team proposed JSN and Hopkins for Steele and Rashad White. I have Ken Walker and Debo coming back. Higgins and Pittman filling in, yes or no. So you would be receiving JSN and Hopkins. I want the JSN and Hopkins side of that deal.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Thank you so much. That was your first super chat, by the way, Daniel.
Yeah, just a friendly reminder. We got to remind everyone once in a while. If you are spamming your question in the chat, it's not going to get it answered. It's probably going to get it not answered permanently if you're spamming in the chat. We'll have to put you in timeout. You can come back to the stream, but don't be that guy. No one likes that guy.
Just not that guy, pal.
We got a donation from Daniel here, and someone else is dangerously close to be putting in timeout. You know who I'm talking to. Okay. Daniel says 2-1 so far in my money leagues, main league. I'm in. What do you think of the team? Hurts, London, DK, Taylor, Robinson Jr., Kincaid, Rice, Mason. You don't have a single name that I wouldn't consider a must start pretty much on a weekly basis. So it's a pretty damn good team. Kincaid looked great in some limited action last week. Hurts is going to figure it out when those wide receivers come back. Love the running back room of JT and Bijan Robinson. I'm honestly kind of surprised I'm trying to figure out how you put this team together. I get the Rice Mason side of it because those were 2 steals in drafts. Like your first round pick was probably Bijan, but how'd you get Jonathan Taylor as well?
It was probably Bijan, London, and then
how do you get Jonathan Taylor though? Anyway, great team, man. I mean, definitely A range, A minus, A plus range.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think it's great. Melissa, good morning, guys. Good morning to you. It says I'm starting JT, Mason, Amon-Ra, and Chase. Flex who? Pollard, Irving, Juwan, Deontay. My goodness. In a PPR, I have to say it's Deontay Johnson, but I think Tony Pollard is a phenomenal start this week as well. Those are the two. I don't think there's a wrong answer here out of Pollard and Deontay. I think both of these guys should eat, but if it's half PPR, I'll go Pollard. full PPR Deontay Johnson, Melissa. Hopefully
Yeah,
that helps.
full PPR. I would go Deontay as well. Um,
Yeah.
by the way, just something random to any Trey McBride owner out there. I have him as well in the Flock League. Okay, so it's important to note that when you get placed in concussion protocol, you can't practice on Wednesday, regardless of if you're going to play or not. So just something that you guys should be aware of moving forward for the rest of the season. Anytime a player gets put in concussion protocol, they're literally not allowed to practice Wednesday. So Wednesday practice has no indication of whether a player will play or not if they're dealing with the concussion symptoms. So just be aware of that. Tomorrow's practice report will be everything for a name like Trey McBride. All right, the next question's from Ashton, who's definitely in Europe somewhere, because this is I think that's the pound. It's a pound. So shout out to Ashton.
Ashton in it, bruv.
What do I do with Waddle? Pray he gets a good quarterback replacement or trade. I have Connor, Pacheco, Kenneth Walker, Hubbard, Lamb, Godwin, Deontay, Brian Thomas, Mark Andrews.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both kind of been on opposite sides. I kind of try to play the devil's advocate here when it comes down to Waddle and trying to trade him away. What can you actually trade him away for is a bit difficult. Once again, using Fantasy Pros, because a lot of people like to use Fantasy Pros as a reference. 3 names ahead of him: Tank Dell, Calvin Ridley, T. Higgins. 3 names underneath: Jalen Waddle, Puka Nacua, Roma Dunze, Shakira. It just really depends on what you can potentially get for Jalen Waddle and what your conviction is on Tua coming back.
Yeah, see, I just don't know who doesn't take Puka here in Rome. I think the better range for him is like the names like Shakir, Worthy, Kirk, McConkey. That feels more realistic, and I'd rather have Waddle in the hopes that Tua's back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I get that. Yeah. Would you rather have Waddle or Michael Pittman?
Waddle, because there's an answer coming.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
Jason's sneaky too, if you can somehow figure out a way to get him.
What about Jordan Addison?
Jordan Addison.
Oh, that's a bit low. In fact, maybe I'm thinking of Michael Pittman. Would you have Jordan Addison or Michael Pittman?
Jordan Addison.
That's so random. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good to know. Hopefully that helps there, Ashton. We appreciate that super chat. Miguel Torres, thank you so much. He says Olave, Hill, Adams, Shakira, Deontay, pick and start 2. Olave and I would be starting Deontay Johnson. Well, actually, that's a lie. I have Hill over Deontay Johnson, but that's not easy. But like at the same time,
we're on the next one. We're on Miguel, right? Sorry,
yeah.
We're on the same page. Okay.
Yeah, Miguel. I technically have Hill over Deontay, but I'll be honest, I don't like it.
I have Deontay over Hill, but I don't like it. I feel like Hill could still go off.
The only reason why I feel like there's new hope and light here is because Tyler Huntley is most likely going to be playing, and we haven't seen Hill with
Pro
him.
Bowl quarterback Tyler Huntley.
Pro Bowl quarterback. Look, I know it's not exciting, but that's where I would go. I'll go Olave, Hill, but I would easily then go to Deontay Johnson or Devontae Adams.
Yeah. So you can only start 2. Hey.
Yeah.
Well, wow. That's a crazy situation to be in right now, actually. That's almost torture to have to decide between these names. Yeah, I think in my rankings I'm going to say Adams. And I'm going to say Deontay. But that is so... This feels like a high chance we miss because there's so many options in the same tier. But that is the direction I would go. And to be honest, if you have that many good options, maybe it's time to consolidate a little bit, hit the trade market, see if you can do a 2-for-1 deal and get a superstar.
Yeah, I agree.
Somewhere else. All right, we got a super chat from Brizzleton. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Appreciate the donation. He says, "What's good, fam? Waddle, Reed, or Shaheed?" Going Jaden Reed here.
Yeah, Jaden Reed. I think I'm going Jaden Reed regardless if Jordan Love plays or not. I feel like the floor is not amazing, but like at least we saw 10 points from Reed last week.
Yeah.
A lot of opportunities, a lot of jet sweeps, which was fun as well. And this is going to be a tough matchup, so I think there's going to be a lot more throwing opportunities if Malik Willis plays.
It's hilarious that he's the wide receiver 9 and he's been unplayable the last 2 weeks. That first week was so good and like exciting. That's insane that he's still the wide receiver 9. Fantasy's been so weird this year. But yeah, I do think Reed is probably the name I'd play there too. Set says 3 flex spots, White, 4 JSN, Waddle, Dell.
JSN for sure. I'm gonna go Rashad White, and
I don't think Dell's gonna play.
yeah, I don't think Dell's gonna play. That's why I was gonna go Ford. Ford does have a decent matchup this week, if I'm not mistaken, against the Raiders. Obviously the Raiders just gave Chuba Hubbard over 100-something yards on the ground. Also, another team that offensive line is struggling with injuries. But give me White, Ford, and JSN.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. That's a tough call, but I tend to agree with you. We had Osama bin Laden in the chat, back from the dead, apparently. Shout out to him. Stefan Barr is the next donation. I appreciate you. 12 team. You're 1 and 2. Need help. Bad. Lamar, Moss, Najee, Evans, Kirk, Andrews, Cup, Lazard, Myers, D-Rob, Watson, CMC. Willing to try
anything
to
become competitive again.
Look, okay, so a couple things. Mike Evans is going to go off this week, in my opinion. Don't freak out about him. Mark Andrews is like
who?
The biggest mystery right now in fantasy football is Mark Andrews.
Who's that? I don't know who that is.
Cooper Kupp, when he's back, is going to be a top 5 play every week. You really have to just to me, I'm not panic trading if I'm in this position. I'm honestly, Stefan, I'm surprised you are 1 and 2 and not 0 and 3. Speaking completely transparently, I'm shocked that you are 1 and 2. So I am probably not panicking too much in the trade market. Watson's probably Christian Watson, and Jordan Love's been injured. I feel like you could look to trade CMC, but that latest report's going to make it difficult, man.
Yeah. I think there's 2 things that you can potentially do here. You can trade Zach Moss.
I feel like you need Zach Moss.
On a high week and see what you can get. Like maybe Zach Moss and Demarcus Robinson, hypothetically. Same. I'm not saying I would agree.
Only had 1 catch. You can't sell him.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Look,
you're right.
I feel like if you can trade CMC for a name like Henry, Mixon, you do it. Otherwise, you probably hold him. You're trying to scrape by wins with waiver wire. So, like, you're a team that should start a Michael Wilson this week, for example. Like, just throwing out, like, names. Like, you are trying to scrape the bottom of the barrel to find, like, startable names until your guys get healthy. You are the guy who should have bid high on Carson Steele. You're the guy who, if Chuba Hubbard was on waivers, you should have went hard after him to get these wins just right now. Rico Dowdle's not a bad name to try and look at. But right now, if I had this team, first off, Andrews is untradeable. I don't even send Andrews for Ferguson. It gets declined, right? What are you supposed to? You just have to hope it gets better. I just don't think you can get literally anything from Mark Andrews right now. You hold Lamar. Moss and Najee are great starts this week. Same with Evans. Kirk has been terrible. But when Kupp is back, when CMC is back, when Jordan Love is helping Christian Watson, I think you've got great options. I just think you're in a really difficult spot, aren't you? I mean, I don't know, man. Like I said, if you can trade CMC for Mixon, if you can trade CMC for Henry, Taylor, Kyron, any of those names, I think you do it. But outside of that, I just think you have to scrape the waiver wire right now to find startable names. Right? I mean, Bucky Irving is a name that you could start this week in your flex. We talked about names like Michael Wilson versus the Commanders, Greg Dortch versus the Commanders, Darnell Mooney. So you kind of have to scrape by. I feel like it's really difficult to sell the players that you have right now. And 1 and 3 isn't even that bad, by the way. If you go 1 and 3, it's actually not the end of your story at all.
Yeah, I agree.
Hopefully that's helpful.
Hang in there.
Just Chrome here says, I have Hunt, Steal, Keep, or Move Drop either. I mean, I would be willing to pair them for sure.
Yeah, obviously pair them, see what you can get. But, I mean, I'm not sure if anyone is going to be paying for either of them unless they're really struggling at the running back position.
Yeah, would you trade them for like a Jonathan Brooks right now if anyone's sleeping on him?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I would. How about a J.K. Dobbins off a bad game for sure?
Yeah.
Zach Moss, I'd rather have.
Yeah.
Just some names. Cameron, appreciate the donation, man. This is your first super chat on stream. Very kind. He says, I have wide receiver depth with Hill, Zay, Pickens, J.S., Dell, Brian Thomas, Pittman. PPR start 4. Thoughts on a 3-for-1 for Amon-Ra? Yeah, well, it's funny because you said I have wide receiver depth, and I looked at your wide receiver room. I was like, I'm not obsessed with a lot of these names. So, absolutely, if you can package Zay, let's not do JSN in that deal. Let's do Zay, Pittman, Dell.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Whatever packaging you do without JSN. So, like, Zay, Pittman, Dell package or a Zay Pickens package or a Zay Brian Thomas Pittman package, I'm fine with, but let's not put JSN in there, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm 1,000% okay with that.
Start 4, meaning start 4 wide receivers, or yeah, probably right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think.
Appreciate
Manny
the super chat.
says, flex start Rico McConkey, Jerry Tutu, and start
Rico
quarterback.
Here.
Yeah, it's got to be Rico.
It's a tough call, but it's got to be Rico.
And then quarterback Patrick Baker Fields. Thanks, guys. For me, it's still Patrick, but I think Baker is a great, sneaky start this week.
Yeah, it's getting close to that being changed, but they're back-to-back in my rankings. Patrick Mahomes is my quarterback 9 this week. I'd play Dak Prescott over him, Daniels, Burrow, but Baker is still just one spot behind him. It's getting close, though. Two Bird Studio, what's up? JSN or Jordan Addison rest of season? For me, it's JSN. How about you?
Yeah, I agree.
And it's close. Like, I could see Jordan Addison, the way this offense is functioning, with what Jalen Naylor's doing pretty much every week. I think you could see Jordan Addison, his value could skyrocket.
Yeah.
I mean, Jalen Naylor's a wide receiver 32, and Jordan Addison is far better than Jalen Naylor. But
yeah,
I just think Jason has a blow-up game this week. I could be wrong. That's my gut. So, yeah.
Bruce, he said, one more question. Your thoughts on playing Hubbard this week? Is Sanders active? Thanks, guys. I'm okay to play Chuba Hubbard if you don't have any other options, even if Miles Sanders plays or not.
I was gonna say I don't care if he plays or not. I'm fine with Chuba if he's your best option.
Yeah, and I mean Miles Sanders played last week, and look what Chuba did. So I think you start him if that's your best option there.
Totally. That's not a bad option this week. I mean, he had 26 touches last week. We can't expect the same game script, but we do expect this team to be far more competitive than originally anticipated.
Yeah,
so,
I agree. Victor, he says, I have 2 offers for Hubbard. One is for Kupp, and the other is Hubbard for Amari. If I can get Cooper Kupp for Chuba Hubbard right now, I'm doing that, no question. I think I'm also doing Chuba Hubbard for Amari regardless.
I think crazy.
You need to stop what you're doing right now and go accept the Cooper Kupp offer.
Yeah,
and if that falls through,
we're begging you, don't get off the stream and accept the Cooper Kupp deal right now before it's out of your inbox. And if
Yeah.
it's out of your inbox, accept Amari Cooper. That's
Amari Cooper. Yeah. Go do
two
that right
incredible
now.
offers.
Come
Yeah.
back.
If you
Daniel
get Cooper
PPR.
Cup, Victor, you're probably going to win your league. If you get Cooper Cup for Chuba Hubbard, you're probably going to win your league.
And he didn't go on IR, and he's like, I think he's not participating, but people seeing without the boot, anyways.
Yeah.
Daniel is PPR, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Kyler Hall, Jacobs, Mostert, Steele. Okay, what's the question? Do I try and trade for a better wide receiver 2 or hold? I'm 1 and 2 right now. So your wide receivers are Adams, DJ Moore, Jawan T, Brian Thomas, and Keon Coleman. You can definitely try and trade. I'm not sure what you can trade.
For me, it would be packaging. If there's a Bills fan or someone who believes in Keon Coleman, I'd package Keon with like a DJ. I'd package Keon with a Brian Thomas and try and upgrade. If you're going to do the DJ Moore route with Keon Coleman, okay, so DJ Moore and Keon Coleman, I'm trying to get to like a Deebo Samuel if you can wait on him. If you can wait on Cooper Kupp, I think that would be really great. If someone doesn't believe in Chris Godwin rest of season, which they probably do if they have him. What about DK? Would you do DK for that?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. Yeah. Where's Amari Cooper in your rest of season rankings, by the way?
I haven't updated my rest of season rankings as of today.
I have him at wide receiver 23. I don't know if that's too aggressive or not.
Updated that one.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Daniel. Very kind of you, man, for the donation. But the other route you could go, by the way, I wouldn't sell T right now. T's hard to sell. The other route you can go if you need some extra oomph is to package Brian Thomas and DJ Moore. I think that could get you a little more oomph in a trade, but yeah, good team. You've been unlucky, you really have. Honestly,
all right.
Yeah. Joe Castles is here. He says, "Who do you like long term, Mayfield, Darnold, or Dalton?" This would be Mayfield for me. I assume you would say the same. He's talking. He's got a kid. I'm sure he agrees with this question. All right, guys, that is probably going to be it for today. Badaki, I'm pretty sure has to take care of his family. I got to go make content. We appreciate y'all big time. Hey, do us a favor,
guys. Thank you so much.
Hit that like button on the stream. We got so much content on the channel. The last thing I'll say is if you haven't subscribed to our shorts channel, we got some shorts content coming out this week, right?
Yeah, they're actually coming out most likely tonight, actually. So maybe when you guys wake up, there's gonna be like 3 videos coming out. I'm doing a bulk drop.
Okay, all right. So watch out for content on this channel. Go subscribe there if you haven't yet. We appreciate you guys big time. Sorry we weren't able to get any of the non-super chats, but you guys were just so kind with all the donations. It's obviously great for us. We appreciate you guys supporting the show. But we also have a lot of great content on the channel. Start sits of the week. Funnily enough, if you asked a question today and you want to know an answer, these 2 videos literally have my rankings in them. So if you want to know exactly where I stand, my rankings are in these videos for you to kind of digest. So I appreciate you guys watching. Enjoy the rest of your night, and we'll see you soon. All love.
Love.